Okay, in this video, I want to talk about why most advice about neurodiverse marriage is wrong. What I mean by the neurodiverse marriage is one person's autistic, the other one is not. So most of the advice you've been given about your relationship sounds right, doesn't it? Communicate more, be patient, try harder, use I feel statements, learn one another's love language. Okay, and if we're honest here, you've already done all that. You've tried to say it better, you've tried to stay calm, you've tried to explain your needs more clearly, and nothing changed. So now you're left in this quiet, confusing place where you start asking yourself, is it me? Am I asking too much in this marriage? Why does this feel so hard when it really shouldn't be this hard? And here's what I want to say to you right here at the beginning. You're not crazy, okay? But you may have been using a model that doesn't actually fit the relationship you're in. And if the model is wrong, guess what? Everything you try inside that model will keep failing. Let's talk about the problem that no one names. Most relationship advice is built on hidden assumption. It assumes that both people process emotion the same way, interpret language the same way, experience connection the same way, return emotional signals in the similar form. That assumption is so baked in that nobody even questions it. So the advice sounds logical. Well, just communicate more clearly. Just express your needs. Just be more emotionally available. Use I feel statements. Learn one another's love languages. Okay, well, but here's the problem. That advice only works when both people are operating from the same emotional and neurological framework. And in a neurodiverse relationship, that assumption breaks. It breaks quietly, consistently, and painfully. Now I want to talk about why effort isn't fixing it. This is where a lot of people get stuck because you're not avoiding effort. You're putting in effort. Oh my gosh, you're putting in some effort, all right. You're trying to initiate conversations, repair after conflict, explain what you feel, stay open instead of shutting down. And still, you don't get back what you're putting in. Not consistently, not reliably, sometimes not at all. And over time, something starts to shift inside of you. You don't just feel frustrated, you feel alone. Even when your spouse is sitting right there next to you. And what makes this even harder is, from the outside, nothing looks obviously wrong. There's no constant fighting per se. There may not even be obvious conflict, just absence. Gaps where something should be happening and isn't. Now let's talk about the misdiagnosis. So naturally, you try to diagnose the problem. Maybe it's communication, maybe it's effort, or maybe it's emotional awareness, maybe it's stress. And every time you land on one of those explanations, you try to fix it. You talk more, you explain more, you soften your tone, you pick better timing. And when it still doesn't work, you don't just feel frustrated, you start to internalize it. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I need less. Maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe I'm expecting something unrealistic. And this is the moment where people begin shrinking themselves inside the relationship. Not because they want to, but because nothing else seems to be working. And by the way, this video is not directed just towards the NT spouse or just towards the ASD spouse. It's directed towards the both of you. And now let's talk about the reality shift. Let's step up that model for a second. What if this isn't primarily a communication problem? What if it's not an effort problem? What if it's not a love problem? What if what you're experiencing is a processing mismatch? Okay, what does the processing mismatch mean? It means that the way emotional information is received, interpreted, organized internally, and then expressed back is fundamentally different between the two of you. I'm not saying it's wrong, but different in a way that does not automatically translate. And once you see that, a lot of things start making more sense. Let's look at what this actually looks like. And I want to make this concrete. You express something emotional. To you, it's layered. There's tone, subtext, vulnerability, a bid for connection. But to your partner, it may register more literally, more cognitively, less layered. So instead of receiving, I need you to meet me emotionally right now, what gets processed is, there's a problem to solve. So they respond with logic, solutions, explanations, sometimes withdrawal. And from your side, that lands as, they didn't hear me, or they don't care, or I'm all alone in this. But from their side, they may think, I responded, I tried to fix it, I don't understand what went wrong. This is where both people walk away feeling confused and hurt, but for completely different reasons. Now let's talk about why conversations don't stick. This is also where you can have what feels like good conversation and then nothing changes afterward. Because the conversation itself isn't the problem. The issue is what happens after the conversation, inside each person's processing system. You leave the conversation thinking, well, we connected, this matters, this should carry forward. They may leave thinking, hey, we addressed it, it's resolved, we can move on. So you're holding on to the emotional meaning, and they're moving forward based on task completion. Same conversation, different internal outcome, and that gap is where repetition begins. Let's talk about the exhaustion you feel. Over time, this creates a very specific kind of exhaustion, not just from conflict, but from having to generate connection over and over again without it sustaining. You become the one who initiates, explains, revisits, repairs, tries again, and eventually you just feel tired. Your brain's cracked, you got nothing left in the tank. And you feel like the relationship depends on you functioning at a level that isn't sustainable. And that's when resentment quietly starts to build. Now let's look at the hard truth. Here's the part that's difficult but important. If you keep treating this like a communication issue, you'll keep having the same conversation, just with better wording. If you keep treating this like an effort issue, you'll just keep trying harder and feeling worse because you're solving the wrong variable. Now let's look at the shift. The shift is not, how do I say it better? The shift is, what system am I actually in? And what works inside that system? That's a completely different question because now you're not trying to force alignment. You're trying to understand translation. And once you move into that frame, your strategy changes, your expectations change, and most importantly, your sense of self starts to stabilize again. Now, if you've been feeling like you're trying everything and nothing is really landing, and you're slowly disappearing inside the process, I want you to hear this very clearly. This is not about failing, but it is about the model you've been given. And once you start seeing the system more clearly, you stop chasing connection the same way and you start creating it differently. Now, if this helps you understand what's actually happening beneath the surface, on my main channel, I go deeper into how to navigate this in real conversations, what to say, what not to say, and how to create change that actually holds. The link to my main channel will be in the description area and also pinned in the comment section. But for now, just sit with this shift. Maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe nothing is wrong with your spouse. Maybe you've been trying to solve this in a way that was never designed to work. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Also, I read and respond to all comments. I'll look forward to reading yours. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you.